I'm Garner Wallace. I'm a senior at Northwestern. I play football there. Sports has really always been a part of my life. I went to church with my parents sometimes on the weekends. You know, like my dad tried to make that important in our lives, going to church, with sports tournaments. It's hard to get to church every Sunday, so I really just thought about God as, as long as I'm a good enough person and as long as I don't have sex before marriage and I don't drink, I'll be able to make it to heaven. It was actually after a football playoff game. I went to a fall weekend trip. It was a weekend retreat, and I got to hear from a speaker there that talked about Jesus in a way that I never heard before. He used this analogy of he had two chairs looking at each other. At one point with sin, we turned our chair around, and that we were no longer had that perfect connection with God, and that we needed to start a relationship with Jesus, and that it was a personal choice and a personal relationship to have with Jesus, and not just a bunch of rules that you had to follow like I thought of before. And so after that weekend, I really started following Jesus seriously, and it became a really big part of my life. But then when I go to college, I don't know if God was testing me, but he kind of okay, you're saying all these things about your faith and how it's the most important thing in your life. It's like, okay, now you're gonna live that out. And so when I got to college, I broke my foot literally the first week I was there. Had to have surgery, and I was out like half the season. I didn't really know my teammates that well. I didn't get an official visit because of COVID, and so it was a really hard time in my life. It was the hardest time in my life. Like during the season, I wasn't traveling, I was hurt. And I would spend Friday nights and Saturday nights alone in my dorm room. Literally had nothing to do. No one was texting me any plans. And I was just like, man, this is terrible. I was thinking, if I wasn't here, would anybody even care if I was here? There's courage to play football. You have to go out there, hit people, not be afraid to be hit. And that's all very hard, but there's a more difficult level of courage. There's a more real courage. And that's the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to say that I'm not good enough at some things. I'm a sinner. The courage to say that, the courage to open up in a sport where it's all about being the toughest and hardest. It felt terrible when I came back. I was like, man, am I even gonna play at all? My whole time at Northwestern. Then the year rolls on, and then one of the safeties gets hurt. So I'm filling in for him on kickoff. I'm running down, doing our team punch the balls out, I get it. I get the ball, I spin off someone, and I score. I picked up the fumble and I scored. It was the craziest thing ever. I'm over there yelling like this, I'm going crazy. My teammates still make fun of me for it today. I was literally going crazy. That really helped us seal the win. That moment was so awesome because I felt like I was overlooked, and that was part of the reason why I was probably celebrating so hard. It's because I'm still good, I can do this. I think that we forget that God created the earth, and he created adventure, created joy, he created laughter, he created all these amazing things. This is God of creation. He loves all these things, and he loves joy. He's the author of joy. That's why I have this tattoo. It's a quill writing joy, for God being the author of joy. There's a lot of joy that you can have following Jesus. I should be fully secure because I have Jesus, and he is more than enough for me to be happy, for me to have joy and be fulfilled. So any other success should only add to that joy that I have, and any failures that I have shouldn't take away from my joy that I already have, because it's full with Jesus. Part of the crazy thing about God and how he's so awesome, he writes a better story for our lives than we could ever think of for ourselves. And there's so many times in my life where I felt like, God, where are you at? Why would you do this to my life? My freshman year, why would I break my foot? Why would you have me feel so alone? Why would you not put me in a group where I can grow? But part of the reason why, he could be doing that is because he wants us to dive deeper into him. He wants us to depend on him more. He wants us to give more of our life to him. He doesn't want just us to be with him on Sunday. He wants us to be with him daily, and he wants us to really live out what it means to follow Jesus.